Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's webinar on Impress Your Clients with Detailed RPR Reports with Katie Gleboff from RPR. Now, I'd also like to mention for those attending the NAR conference coming up November 12th through the 15th in San Diego, that our president, Matthew Crumbaugh, our vice president, Jessica Crumbaugh, and our senior project manager, Tori Hunter, will be in attendance at that conference. So again, happy to have you come on out and meet them. Before we begin, though, I do want to let you know that Allison James Estates and Homes is a nationwide brokerage which offers 100% commission, 100% support, and 0 franchise fees. Why split your commission if you don't need to? You earned it all, so shouldn't you keep it all? Now, our goal here at Allison James is to always give back to our agents by providing education, training sessions, live webinars, live events, and full broker support with the most up-to-date tools and technology available. We are always looking for new tools and ways to be able to provide them to our agents at a lower or discounted price so you can keep your hard-earned money. Now, today's webinar is sponsored by our preferred lender, Movement Mortgage. For more information about Allison James Estates and Homes, please visit us at www.ajicareers.com. Now let's go ahead and get started with today's topic. If you have any questions throughout today's presentation, please submit your questions into the chat box on your Zoom control panel. I will now pass it over to our speaker today, Katie Gleboff. Good morning, Katie.
Still on mute. All right, am I unmuted?
Yeah, go right ahead. I'm going to
Okay,
end my screen
perfect.
share as well.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you guys, and let me go ahead and move my pictures over. And I want to just let everyone know I'm experiencing some brownouts in my market area. I'm in the Tampa Bay area of Florida, and I'm under a tornado watch and severe thunderstorm warning. So I do apologize if my internet gets cut off for a minute. Please continue to stay on the presentation and I will jump back in, but it's been a little glitchy for me for about the last 10 minutes or so. And I had a little problem joining Zoom. So again, accept my apologies for that bad weather day for me. So we're going to talk about impressing your clients with detailed RPR reports. So what we're going to cover in today's presentation is how to use RPR to update your profile. That way you get not only your brand recognition, but your agent recognition embedded on all the reports that you create within RPR. I'll also share with you how to upload custom pages. So whether you're creating a listing presentation or a buyer's report, any additional local market information, resources, or info that you'd like to share with your clients can be included with each report that you generate from RPR. We're also going to touch base on some of the use case scenarios for reports within the platform. Our reports, we have specific property reports. And then we have some statistical reports, inventory reports, and neighborhood reports. So I want to be able to share all of that information with you guys as well. So we're going to take a look at the reports that we have in RPR, and we're going to do some use cases. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into our RPR platform. Now I know we have, let me just move my camera over. I know you guys can see me. I know you guys have brokerages all across the US with Allison James. I have a tendency to use the California market for you guys. That's just where we have your headquarters address located. So that's the area that I'm going to go ahead and use today. But I want to kind of start the presentation working on the ground layer of information, because when you're packaging profile reports together or property reports together for your clients, a lot of times there are layers of information. So when you start to be able to understand how that layering of information works, the customizing of reports becomes a really simple thing to do within RPR. So I'm just going to jump into our research tab on the RPR homepage. You should see that Allison James Estates and Homes logo on the upper right-hand side. That's the primary brand recognition that's going to get embedded in the reports that you create. And I'm going to go ahead and start with our school search within RPR. This really is a simple search. It takes no time at all to run. You can search by geography if you want to search by geography, and you can also search by school district. But if I'm just coming in and saying I want to search for all of the schools in Carlsbad, California, I can come in and type in the city, the state. If I want to filter it to a specific school by name, I can do that. And I can also drive it by level. So if I just want to look at elementary, middle, or high school, I can do that. This is going to pull up all of the public, private, and charter-based schools in the area. So you can come in, we have 29 schools. You do have the ability to take this and you can, generally speaking, say, hey, I just want to print this page out. I want to give it to my buyers in the area. They're interested in school data. I'll give them a list of all of the schools and they can go from there. So you can come in and just PDF a general list of the schools in the market area. And you can also come in and I'm looking for a public high school. I share high schools because they we have more data on high schools because of the testing that they do. So you can come in, and if you want to click on a particular high school or elementary school or middle school, you just click on the name of the school within the list. You're going to see that map view. So where is the school located? You get a little bit of the school summary, the level, the type, the grade served, the school district, the phone number. And then you're going to get the comparisons and ratings. So it takes a look at all the schools throughout the district and then how this individual school is performing against that. All of this information comes to us from a third-party vendor called niche.com. So you can click that link that says about this data and it tells you niche.com gathers this information from the US Department of Education, Private School Universe Survey, Common Core Data, and others. It's updated on a quarterly basis. But you can come in and see the academic grade for the school. This is based off of the GPA, the proficiency levels for math and reading, the percentage of gifted students, AP enrollment, graduation rates, ACT scores, and SCT scores. Okay. You also get teacher grade, which is just going to tell you the average salary and the teachers in the first or second year. So you can come in and look at that school information. Just on a general note, the school ratings and reviews, the letter rating doesn't always correlate from one school to or one district to another. And this is really just public record data. So if you are in a market where you are comfortable giving school information away for a specific school, and I'll just use my market as an example, right? Let's say you have clients, maybe you're in the Tampa Bay market and you have clients that are moving from California and they're going to Palm Harbor, right? So you can come in, and if this is the school that they went to, I would come in and take a look at the GPA and those proficiency levels. And then you can always come in and say, all right, well, I want to find the public school in Palm Harbor, Florida, right? So I can come in, type in the city of Palm Harbor, Florida. I'm going to click on that magnifying glass, and then I'm going to scroll through this and look for the high school in Palm Harbor High School. This is the public. I'm going to go ahead and click on the name. And then I'm going to come in from here and I'm going to take a look at the same information. GPA, proficiency levels are a little bit lower in Florida than they are in California, even though this is an A-rated school. So I kind of tend to look at the numbers less than the grading, but you can come into any area. You can highlight a school, public, private, or charter, and then you also have the ability to view listings within that school. So the listing information from here is a layer of information. So you can come in and say, well, hey, I want to see what activity is going on around Palm Harbor University High School. If I click into the map view, if it's a public school, it will search within the attendance school zone boundary. And if it is a private or charter school, it's going to do a radius search for property information. So you can come in and look at the layer of active listing information that's available. And if I just hit that back button, it's going to take me back to my school data, where I can also come in and create a report. So again, your school report, when you're looking at a individual school report, it's going to be that layering of information. So if I click on this little plus sign here, it's going to have this summary of the school, how it compares to other schools in the district. It's going to pull local reviews in that we pull in from niche.com. It's going to share with you nearby schools within a radius. Remember, we saw that in the list view. It's going to pull in nearby properties for sale. But if you want to exclude this from your school report, you simply uncheck that box and it's going to hide it. You can also filter by school type, public, private, or charter. You can filter by school level. And you can change the distance for nearby schools as well. So you can come in and do that. If you're going to email the report, you can include the recipient's name, client, or customer, whatever you refer to them as. You can type in your message, which could be your call to action. And then you can email that to your client. Select run report, and it's going to go ahead and email it out. One thing I'd like to point out, when you're at your reports page, you'll see over on the left-hand side, for any report that you look at, it's going to show you a sample of the cover page for the report. It's also going to share with you what information we have for you within RPR, your name, your title, your agent phone, your cell phone, your fax, your email, your logos. Okay, it's going to pull a profile for you. And if you don't see your agent image within your profile, if you don't see your contact information within your profile, you can just come right down here to the bottom where it says edit profile. That's going to bring you into your settings and into your profile page. And this is where you do have the ability within RPR. If I just erase this photo, you're going to have an upload photo. I can go ahead and go to my computer where I have my file folders. I can find my agent image and I can open that and import it into RPR. Click OK. It's going to bring that into view. I have my contact info. All of this information comes in from your local association. So you can change the info. You can add your title. Your designations and certifications should be in here if they're up to date with your local association. So if you have them and they are not in RPR, please go back to your local board and make sure the information is correct with your local association. You can add multiple phone numbers, fax numbers, emails, and websites. Regardless of the information that you're adding, you can label that information accordingly. And then you can just scroll down. If you want to add your license numbers, you can add your license numbers. And if you have administrative assistants that are going to be operating RPR on your behalf, you can also link them to your RPR account as well. Hit that save on the bottom. That's going to lock in that contact information. And then I can close that. It's going to save all of my bio and my agent info, and I can go back to the home page. I can do a refresh. And you should also see your profile information up to date right here at the top. Since we've created a school report, you're going to see now we have a little number 1 at our reports icon. And it's going to show you that we've just created a school report. So if you want to be able to access that report, you can click right on that link. It's going to bring you into the reports page. You can see we've generated a school report. To open it, you can simply click on the name of the school. It's going to open up that school report and you can preview it. You can also see to the bottom, we have some report options, which allow you to delete it. You can post it onto Facebook. If you need to resend the report, maybe you emailed it out and your client did not get it or it was deleted. You can do that. And then we also have a link here that says view report activity. And that's going to show you the date and timestamp for the report and for when your client opened it. And I just want to make a comment. I do apologize, guys, but I am getting it looks like my computer is telling me it's like a static volume. So if my volume seems to be going in and out, I do apologize for that. Again, I do have storms overhead. So I am keeping an eye on my green microphone, but it's going yellow on me sometimes. So please forgive me. We're going to go to our research tab. The next type of search I want to cover is our neighborhood search. Your neighborhood search pulls demographic data. This can be based off of a city. So if I come in and add Carlsbad, California, I can do that. You can also do this at a zip code level. So if you want to drill it down to a zip code, you can drill it down to a zip code. Or you can change your type drop down to within, and that's going to give you our smallest demographic market area, which drills you all the way down to your subdivision level. This could be a subdivision, this could be a community, this could be a development, whatever you call it in your market area. And these can be particular condo buildings. But if you want to look at the demographic data for any of these areas, you can kind of scroll through. You see that estimated home value, you see property value growth year over year, inventory for sale, median list price, days on market, and the size of the neighborhood. We can click on the name of the community. And this is going to pull in that census information. So our neighborhood data, again, for most of this, outside of maybe some of the market trends, again, we have links on all of this that says about this data. It's going to tell you how often we're updating the graph and where we're pulling it from. So this is going to be broken down into different components. We have a summary, which gives you a little bit of home values, short, month over month, and long-term, year over year. You're going to get that estimate of home values broken down over time, sales price versus sales volume, inventory, so how listing volume is affecting your list price, and then population of the households. So that's just a summary of information. As you scroll back up to the top, you have a housing tab, which is going to take an in-depth look at the housing market values. So this is going to be your median list price, median sales price, home values, month over month change, year over year change, median home age, the percentage of rent versus own, the neighborhood to the city, to the county, to the state, to the country. And then again, you're going to get some stats on how your inventory affects your price, whether you're looking at sales volume versus list price or your list volume versus list price. That's going to be your housing. You have people. When you look at people, this is really when you get to the demographic data. So when you get into the household breakdown, this information tends to be updated when this based off of US Census information. So it's going to be updated in an annual or on an annual basis. Again, you have that link that says about this data. So it's going to tell you all about that, but this is population growth, density, male to female ratio, education levels for the market area, population of children, adults by age group, your occupational categories, and your voting pattern. So all of that is going to be included in this as well. So you have that information there. You have your economy. Economy is going to be your job growth and unemployment. Okay. So you have income per capita, unemployment ratios, and then you have that quality of life. Quality of life is a great little factor. This is really good if you're working with a reload buyer, someone who's new to the area. You can come in and you get that elevation, you get rainfall, snowfall, sun, how people travel time to work, average commute times, how people get to work, the AARP livability index, and the walkability. So one of the things that I like about the neighborhood report, not all of these pages are helpful. You may be a little resistant to share some of the demographic data. I think the quality of life is great, especially when it's someone new to the area and they're like, oh, does it snow? How's the weather? So this quality of life tab I really like because it gives you that info. So you can always come into RPR and say, hey, I want to create a report for this area, and I want that neighborhood report. You can always view a sample of the report, and then you can always come in and expand it. And now I want to take a minute before we go in and talk about what we want to include. We have custom pages. Custom pages can be added into any RPR report. You just go to the bottom where we have that link that says Manage Custom Pages. And you can come in and add up to 5 PDF documents into RPR. You just go to add custom page, you import it right from your desktop. You can drag and drop these and put them in any order that you want. You can put them at the beginning or at the end of any report that you create. And these can be even seasonal. So if you want to remove them, you can remove them from RPR as well. So once you get everything set, you can go ahead and save it. And then you can include these custom pages, welcome letters, agent bios, client testimonials, informational sheets. You know, this is great for if you're creating buyer reports and you just want to have a quick flyer that talks about the utility companies, the cable companies, a little bit on what happens within the community and things like that. So you can always add those custom pages. And then if I want to come in and say, hey, I only want my client to get the housing data, right? And that's property value growth, median home age, the percent rent versus own. But I don't want to talk about the household breakdown or the economy. I can talk about the weather, right? And then I can come in, and again, you can personalize this information. You can email it out, but I'm just going to select run report, and it's going to go ahead and generate that report. So I have that information in there as well. We'll go ahead and take a look at the neighborhood report in just a minute. One thing I like about the RPR reports, if we're looking at a particular neighborhood and I pulled the demographics for the neighborhood. Now I want to go ahead and take a look at the inventory for the neighborhood. I can just change the radio button to the market area activity report. And now I can come in and generate this report, which is going to give me the market snapshot, estimated home values. You have a short-term and long-term overview, 12-month change in value, concentration of distressed properties. Maybe you don't want to include that, so you can just uncheck it. You get the sales price, you get the list price. You can preview the inventory stats as well as the property details. I can look at a time frame. I can look at inventory for sale. I can pick the MLS status that I want to look at. I can choose the property style. I can even look at a particular list price, sales price, beds or baths. And I can select run report, and it's going to generate that market area activity report. Right? Now we can also, from the home page in RPR, if I go into our research tool, I can take a look at our residential market area activity search. And I can come in and search market activity for a city. But if I was looking for a particular neighborhood, right, I can also come in and just type in the name of the neighborhood, right? And then I can go ahead and search market activity that way as well. Okay, so I can go in and pull up market area activity by neighborhood name. I could do it by city, I could do it by zip code. And then of course, if I want to create a market area activity report, I just go to the upper right-hand side of my page and select create report. And then from here, it's going to bring me right into market area activity, where again, I can expand my options, I can customize my report elements, and I can generate my report. Another nice thing that I like about RPR, if you like creating reports on the fly, you can always go into your My Market on the homepage. And under the My Markets, you can select add. Again, you can type in a specific city if you want to add a specific city. You can add in a particular neighborhood if you want to add a particular neighborhood. You can save those market areas in RPR. And then if you have sellers in a specific area or buyers that are looking for information in a specific neighborhood, those neighborhoods or market areas are now stored right here within RPR. And you have the ability to easily come in, select the market area from your homepage, click on the market area, and from here, you can search in that area. You can create a market area activity report for that market, or you can create a neighborhood report as well. So that kind of makes it cool. And then you can also, of course, at any time, if you're looking in a particular area, I can very easily come in and select a property from here. And if I want to view the full details from my map view, I can pull up these active listings, and now I can create buyer property reports as well. So when you're going in and you're looking at an actively listed property for sale and you want to create a report for your client, again, you're looking at those layers of information, right? And those layers of information can come from the property summary, interior features, exterior features, housing facts, price change history is all available within RPR. We have the history, change in assessed value, right? Sales and financing activity, prior sales transactions, mortgage information, We have local inventory for local market statistics that you can take a look at. You can refine the value. You can create a CMA, and you can look at that neighborhood data. So you can look at all of these layers of information for your buyer. And then you're coming into that property and you're creating a report, and you're picking the buyer type report that you want to create, right? And that buyer type report, again, we have two very popular buyer type reports, which is the property report. This is the most extensive buyer type report that we have at 28 pages. All of our reports, again, you can view a sample if you want to thumbnail through, right? And you can expand if you want to customize what's included in the buyer report as far as your custom pages, the report elements that are included, right? Maybe you don't want historical photos. Maybe you don't want the mortgage info. Maybe you don't want distressed activity from 8 years ago, which was prior to the current homeowners. It's going to include that layering of neighborhood information, housing, people, economy, quality of life. You're going to also have that school information as well. You can customize the photos, and you can suppress RVM information for the property. Of course, once you customize the report, that becomes your standard default for all future reports that you generate. Again, you can personalize the report, and you can email it out or download it as a PDF. The mini property report doesn't have as many layers as the property report. So this is pretty much the same. You have your custom pages, you have your property summary with the list price, the comp analysis if you created a contract to purchase, and the RVM value. It's going to have the home facts. It's your option if you want to remove the homeowner facts. Otherwise, it's just really simple extended home facts, property photos, property history, which includes assessed values and mortgage. You're going to get that a little bit on the inventory and a little bit on housing stats and charts. No neighborhood information other than home values, no demographic data, no school data. Those layers are removed from the mini property report. Again, with every report, you can include the customer name. You can type in your message with your call to action. And you can email this report out. You can email it to multiple people just by separating the email address by a comma, and selecting run report is going to generate your property report. Okay. So those are the two buyer type reports that we have. And I'm going to pull up the mini property report once this is done finalizing. And I also want to make a comment that on the reports, we do have a notification. So bear with me while this report is finalizing. Hopefully your speakers on your computer are not too loud. And hopefully you don't have a guard dog or anything like that, because when our reports are generated in RPR, they do take maybe a minute to generate. For a longer report, it may take a little bit more, but it rings a little doorbell in the system to tell you that the report has finished generating. That's it. That was the jump. If you want to turn that doorbell off, it doesn't stop the pop-ups from happening, but you can go to your reports, and then right at the top here, you can toggle that doorbell off, and that won't ring anymore. Again, for any report that you've created, if you've emailed it out, you can rerun and resend the report with updated information. You can review report activity. And then, of course, if you want to open it, you just click right on that property address. And then you can come in, right? And you can take a look at the reports. They're all nice. The font's nice. They're clean. They're easy to read. Our images come out really nice. But you have the mini property report as well. So that's a great property report. I want to go back to the homepage. And this is where I want to kind of come in and talk about an actively or an off-market property. So let's say I get a lead on someone who's thinking about listing their home. So I come in and type in a property address, right? I pull up the property address. It's going to give me the aerial view of the property. With the property summary, I do have the ability to refine the RVM value. I can also create a comparative market analysis. So if you're going in, making a listing presentation for a client, and you're going to include the CMA in that listing presentation, you can step-by-step create a comparative analysis, which is going to be confirming the home facts, searching for comps in your local market area and selecting comps that you want to use for your pricing. You have the option to make adjustments. You can review the comp analysis for your final price, and then you can generate a seller's report. That's going to be the final step. So that allows you to come into RPR. And then with that being said, you can create a seller's report. Our seller's report is our listing presentation type report. This is going to give you extensive reviews on the property, including the property summary, which is the list price, the estimated value, the result of your comp analysis, and the result of your refined value. It's going to include extensive home facts on the property, including extended home facts. I love in RPR that you can hover over all of these little information icons and you can see a sample of what the page is. So if there's a page you want to exclude from your report, you just uncheck that box so you can get a pretty good idea of what you want to include or exclude as you go through. Right? It's going to pull market area activity, market health. You're going to get your comps in a list view and a side-by-side view, right? You'll get competing properties. If there's any inventory that you would like to exclude from your competition list or your inventory list, you simply uncheck those boxes. It's going to include your pricing strategy, okay, based off of your RVM value and based off of your comp analysis. You'll also have a seller's proceeds if you choose to. So you can come in, limit the property photos, limit the market area activity, and suppress RVM information. And then you can go in, of course, if you're emailing that report out. Otherwise, you can just run it and download it. Now, a lot of the times when you're coming into RPR, if it is a listing presentation type report, you may not have the best image of the property. So you do have the ability within RPR to go from the property summary. If you scroll down about a quarter of the way down, to the right-hand side, you're going to see a card that says My Updates. And under My Updates, you have property photos. And this is where you can come in and say, hey, I want to add a photo. And I'm going to come in. I think I have this under my desktop images. I'm going to drive by the property. I'm going to take a photo of the property. And then I do have the ability to use that image on the cover page for a report that I'm going to generate. But maybe I just really quick want to create a coming soon flyer for this property. Again, I can go to create report. I can go to my property flyer. I can add my headline. Spell it correctly. I can add my public marketing remarks. add open house info if you're completing one. You can come in and for your property value, it can be the RVM value. It could be the list price of the property. If you're creating a just sold, you can do a sales price for the property. It can be the result of your comp analysis or your refined value as well. And then you just select run report. And it's going to go ahead and create that property flyer for you. The property flyer is the only single page report that we have in RPR, right? But this is just a sample of that property flyer. Again, you can create a property flyer for an on or off market listing. So that's up to you, but you can go in and create a property flyer. And that's going to take just a minute to generate. So I'm going to go back to my property detail. This is our flyer, I think. Nope, that is our seller's report for our listing presentation. So again, you can see how this report looks. Spaced out very well. You get market trends, you get mortgage information, long and short-term views, inventories, effects on pricing, price adjustments and how it affects days on market. So you get market health, you get inventory trends, really nice robust view of what's going on in the market for your CMA. With our CMA, we also have a sales comparison analysis. The sales comparison analysis is a more detailed evaluation, and it's going to create a valuation workbook. So the valuation workbook is tied directly to our sales comparison analysis. This is more of an appraiser style type CMA. If you're going to use adjustments, you're going to use the monetary adjustment amount. But if you want to take a look at our valuation workbook within our reports page, of course, you can always view that sample and you can thumbnail through all of the pages to get an idea of how the valuation workbook differs from our seller's report. If we expand our valuation workbook, the main difference comes down to a section that we call our local market conditions summary. And this is going to give you an inventory analysis trended over time span. It does include the sales, the absorption, the inventory, and the supply. And then again, it looks at over the last 3 months, 4 to 6 months back, and 7 to 12 months back to kind of help talk about how stable the market is in that area. And it's going to generate this local market conditions summary, including distress listings, excluding distress listings, only looking at distress listings. So you'll get, excuse me, you will get a couple of different scenarios for that local market conditions summary. Again, you can customize that as you see fit. All of our reports are static reports. They're PDF reports. So once you generate that report, you can't change it. So if it's an inventory report that you want to change, maybe you created a property flyer a week ago or a month ago, and now you're dropping the price and you want to create a new one, you can always go back to your reports page and you just go to your report options and you simply rerun that report, and it's going to pull all fresh information from RPR and provide a new report. So you do have that option available within RPR as well. And that gives you a good insight into all of the different reports that we have within the RPR platform. So I'm going to go back. What's next? Go ahead, focus on your business needs, select a property, create an interesting report, and then send it to yourself. Don't forget, you guys can access RPR by visiting narrpr.com or connect directly through your MLS. Remember the learn and help features that are available to you. You can visit our blog for more resources. You can visit us at blog.narrpr.com. Within our blog, we do have a learning area where you can get all types of printable guides and brief tutorials on how to use the RPR reports. You can access this under the help tab, and you can have a quick link to our training area. So that's going to wrap up our presentation on RPR reports.
Well, thank you so much, Katie. Really appreciate it. Very informative. Certainly can't wait to go in and start changing some settings and viewing some samples. And yeah, very excited about this. So, and I want to say a huge thank you to everyone for joining us today. And again, thanks again, Katie. Have a great day, everyone. Hope to see you again next time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.